5 years. That's how long I gave my life to Invicta Corp. I was the first one in and the last one out, day after day. Coffee-fueled mornings bled into sleepless nights. My name is Rayan Malik, and back then, I was just another cog in the corporate wheel, hoping my sacrifices would lead to something more. Promotions dangled like carrots, always just out of reach. But I stayed. I worked. I believed. The Dubai Oil Consortium was the client no one could touch. Rumors about their elusive boardroom deals were legendary. When word got out that they were looking for a new logistics partner, the entire department laughed at the idea of landing them. I didn't. I studied, researched, traveled, and made calls no one dared make. For months, I pursued them like a ghost, gradually gaining their trust. It happened on a rainy Wednesday. The deal went through. $150 million over 3 years, the biggest contract in Invicta's history. I stood in the conference room as the ink dried, expecting cheers. My boss, Mr. Aslan Qureshi, smiled coldly. No handshake, no congratulations. Something felt off, but I brushed it aside. I was too proud, too thrilled, too blind. The next morning, HR called me in. Aslan sat across from me, eyes sharp, mouth smug. We appreciate your contributions, Rayan, but your services are no longer required. No explanation, no warning, just termination papers. They thought they could steal my work and throw me aside like trash. But they had no idea. I never handed over the final digital authorization. A small legal clause gave me final rights until full board transfer. The deal wasn't complete, not without me. I walked out with my pride intact and a copy of everything. I didn't fight. I didn't yell. I just smiled. I started my own company, Lumina Logics. 2 desks, a coffee machine, and a heart full of fire. I reached out to the consortium. They agreed to meet. Turns out they liked me more than the brand behind me. 2 weeks later, they signed with Lumina Logics. I was back in business, this time on my own terms. News spread. Invicta's shareholders demanded answers. Aslan was demoted. HR scrambled. Clients whispered. I was suddenly the name on everyone's lips. Invitations came pouring in. Conferences, interviews, partnership proposals. I chose carefully, quietly, strategically. I hired a dream team, people who had once been ignored, like me. We built software better than anything on the market. We offered transparency, empathy, and reliability. Clients flocked to us. In a year, we tripled in size. We didn't just rise, we soared. Aslan called me one evening. He wanted to talk. I let it ring. Then I blocked the number. I wasn't interested in apologies or explanations. I didn't need closure. I had already won. Today, Lumina Logics operates in 6 countries. We just hit $500 million in revenue. My story isn't about revenge. It's about worth, about rising from betrayal, about knowing your value, even when others don't. So if you're ever cast aside after giving your all, remember this. Sometimes getting fired is just the beginning of your freedom. With our name rising, I knew brand identity mattered. We rebranded with a bold message: ethics, innovation, results. I hired Mara, a marketing genius from a rival firm who once turned me down for coffee when I was still at Invicta. This time, I was the one offering the corner office. She accepted. We launched campaigns that told stories of real people, real success, and real integrity. Lumina Logics wasn't just a company, it was a movement. Every team member I hired had been overlooked, underestimated, or burned. Zoya, the coding wizard with Asperger's. Amir, the soft-spoken strategist with an eye for loopholes. Sarah, the HR reformer who believed in second chances. We didn't build a traditional team, we built a tribe, a family. Success invites enemies. One of our own, a recent hire named Faizan, tried to leak our software blueprint to Invicta. He underestimated our network security. Caught red-handed, we let him go without fanfare. But I knew Aslan had sent him. It wasn't over. Aslan publicly accused me of theft, that the Dubai deal was stolen. He filed a civil suit thinking he could crush me with legal might. But I had the original emails, contracts, timestamps, and even a recorded conversation where he dismissed the deal as impossible. The court ruled in my favor. Aslan's reputation crumbled. Invicta's board forced him to resign. With success, I didn't forget where I came from. I started a foundation, Ignite Futures. We offered scholarships to underprivileged youth in tech, especially those from small towns like where I grew up. We hosted free coding boot camps and leadership workshops. Lumina Logics became more than a company, it became a force for good. I returned to Invicta's headquarters one day, not out of spite, but to buy one of their divisions, the very department that fired me. They were bankrupt, desperate. I offered fair value, signed the deal, and walked through those familiar doors. But this time, I was the owner. We dismantled the toxic culture brick by brick. Open door policies, emotional wellness programs, performance based promotions. It wasn't about control anymore, it was about empowering people. I saw myself in so many of the new interns, eager, nervous, hopeful. I made it a point to mentor one personally every quarter. My journey had taken so much of my life, but now I had something more. I reconnected with my college friend Layla, who had always believed in me. We married in a small ceremony with my core team present. She grounded me, reminded me that ambition is great, but love is the real legacy. Netflix approached us for a documentary, From Fired to Fortune. I was hesitant, but then I thought of the millions like me trapped in cubicles, afraid to take the leap. We filmed for months. It premiered to rave reviews and inspired countless others to bet on themselves. It wasn't the money or the fame or even the revenge that satisfied me. It was the knowledge that I didn't change who I was to succeed. I stayed honest, loyal, determined. They fired me thinking they ended my story, but they only lit the fire that would build my empire. So if you're reading this, stuck, scared, or betrayed, remember, sometimes being thrown out is the best thing that can ever happen to you because it forces you to build your own door, and this time you hold the key. You